Welcome, everyone. We want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it.
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow. Step one, self-love above anything else. Unlock peace and happiness.
Sorry, I got to change it over. I said there's no technical difficulties, and I put the wrong thing up. But good evening, good evening, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to At the Root of It. My name is Shannon, and on tonight, y'all, we are on part deuce of this show called Figuring Out What Your Attachment Style or styles, depending on if you have two or more, are. And just looking back at last week's show, it really blew my mind. Like, it wasn't something that was just a topic that people knew about. And we don't realize the onion that we are as a people. We have many, many layers to us. But in order for us to get to the core, we have to peel it back one by one. And this is our opportunity to peel it back, peel this onion back. Good evening. Oh, you said good morning. Good morning. Good evening. Hola. Hi, y'all. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? So, before we get into it, I just want to let everybody know that tonight, or the disclaimer out here is that we are not clinical doctors. We are, we're just going through our experiences. My daughter looks up a lot of psychology videos, and she came across attachment styles. And I didn't know what attachment styles was. And this is for people who didn't see last week's show. And so when I found out what the attachment style was, because it's 4 attachment styles. But before I get into that, let's just bring the lady of the hour on. And I'm going to introduce to some and present to others. Hey, Tange. Hey, Jen. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, you know, look at this. Look at this. I'm going to add my guest on, my daughter, Jasmine Vinson. Everybody give her a hand clap, a hand clap. Let me tell you something. That's dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Hey, Jazz. Hey, I would like to thank you again for coming on the show tonight to do a continuation of what we was discussing last week, because baby, oh baby, oh baby, did you open up a can of worms. I was gonna babble in the beginning, but then I was like, no, let me bring her on and then babble. So last week we talked about the 4 different attachment styles, okay? And these 4 attachment styles, I didn't even know that we even had a specific attachment style, right? But there's 4 attachment styles. There it is. Okay. I'm like, come on now. But it's secure, it's anxious, preoccupied, it's dismissive avoidance, and it is fearful avoidance. So, Jazz, let me just tell you that from the time that we discussed this particular topic, right, I've learned a lot about myself. I understand myself a lot more. And I've already started making changes in my life because knowing is half the battle. When you know what's affecting you, you know what to hit, you know what to treat. You know what I mean? Like a doctor. They can probe and pry you and feel you, but until they know exactly what's wrong with you, they can't prescribe the right medication to help heal you, right? You brought up a sickness that was on the inside of me that I didn't even know that I had. And now that I know that I have it, now I can get the proper medicine to heal that part of me so I won't be sick in that area anymore. And so I want to thank you. You know, you helped me so much. We don't give our kids their flowers either. You know what I mean? Because we don't know everything. And you bringing this topic to me and me understanding that I couldn't teach this topic, you know, and your willingness to come on to teach the people, because this is not light work, you know, and this topic is very heavy. And with knowing what comes with these attachment styles can come shame, you know, because you feel like, dang, I'm that bad, you know, or I'm that weak, or I'm that gullible, I'm that naive, that I don't love myself because I allow people to do this to me over and over and over again. But what I've learned, and we're going to get into all of this, is there's a way that you don't have to feel ashamed. So I'm going to give you the floor, Jazz. Go recap and then learn us something tonight. Oh, Tange said, hey, Jazz, I'm ready for you, girl.
Hey.
With the hand claps, okay?
So anxious, preoccupied, we already talked about dismissive avoidant and fearful avoidant. These are all insecure attachment styles. So there's 1 secure and 3 insecure attachment styles. We talked about how each one of these stem from childhood. Anxious, preoccupied stems from abandonment. Dismissive avoidant stems from rejection. And fearful avoidant stems from distrust. So because they all stem from different things, it's safe to say that the healing process may be a little different for each person. The anxious, preoccupied person struggles with loving themselves. Remember that one picture you put up. We don't like ourselves. We're in the negative. We don't like ourselves, but we put our partner on a pedestal. Yeah, right there. So the anxious, preoccupied's healing process would look a little different. Their healing process consists of a lot more self-love. Self-love being, hygiene, health, doctors, going to the doctor, things like that. Like really focusing on yourself and making sure that you're okay. Also, you want to get active. You want to get outside. Because a lot of the times, this type of person, they start to overexpress themselves, or they start to cling onto their partners because they just don't have enough going on in their day. So if you're at a point where you're just clinging onto a person because you're bored, then we need to find things to do.
You need to find yourself, because we tell our kids, like, I'm not here to entertain you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to find yourself. And it's people are more susceptible to conform themselves into their partners so that they don't have to find themselves. We as people, I believe, we as human beings, we we tend to change with our partner. So instead of finding out who we are and what we want and what we desire, or even just our goals and aspirations without anybody else, just our own personal goals, a lot of times we form ourselves into our mate because we think that's what they want. When in all actuality, they want individuality. They want somebody that can stand on their own too, that can think for themselves, that can bring, you don't necessarily have to bring monetary gain to the table. But if you bring ideas, if you bring support, if you bring love, if you bring, these other things in, those are the tools that you know that you have on the inside of you. You know what I mean? But how would you know if you never develop yourself because you're so wrapped up around this man or this woman that you're not even putting no time, effort, or energy into yourself? Get it together. Get it together.
We could say get it together, but a lot of times you don't put the energy and effort into yourself because you really don't know how. So you got to break it down like baby steps. So how to heal insecure attachment styles. I would highly recommend therapy. I've been thinking about therapy. Also, you want to notice and track your feelings.
That was the Mother's Day. My finger is, the computer's a touchscreen. My finger touched it. It's crazy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So you want to notice and track your feelings. The best way to do that is start small. Starting small may be like they have like what do you call it? They have emotion wheels. So what you do is you put like happy, mad, sad, right? And you spin the wheel. If you're feeling, okay, so here's an example. You're feeling happy, right? So that's you noticing that you're feeling happy. This is how you track your feelings. Then describe how you're feeling without using that exact word. So I'm feeling happy, but how I would describe myself is excited, bubbly, joyful. I say start small.
Let me just
like
ask
that
something.
because
Let me just ask the audience. Can y'all hear her? Can y'all hear her? Latifah said, all is well, user error. Yeah, I took y'all back to May on that. I saw a heart go up. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. They can hear you. She's low, right? Yeah, on Instagram, they can't hear you. Go ahead, talk.
So notice and track your feelings. I say start small with regular emotions like happy, mad, sad, because when you get into like resentful or deeper emotions, it tends to get scary, especially if this is for the dismissive avoidant or the fearful avoidant. Then you want to notice your needs. When your needs are constantly ignored, we begin to believe that our needs are too much, or we begin to believe that something is wrong with us for having needs. So it all goes back to you. Notice how you feel on a day-to-day, track it. How am I feeling today? How did I wake up feeling today? Did I wake up feeling happy? Did I wake up feeling sad? What are other words to describe how I'm feeling? So that you have a better understanding of what's going on with you. Then you want to notice your needs. Okay, so what do I need today? What would make me feel good today?
Right.
Self-care. What soothes me? Something that my mom did that was actually a positive thing as I was growing up is that because she didn't get certain things from her parents or whatever the case may be, she made sure that she took care of herself. And if she wanted that outfit, she went and got that outfit. That is a healthy coping mechanism. Not saying to go out and go shopping and spend all your money. That's not what I'm saying. But do the things that you wish that they would have done for you. Do them for yourself. It'll make you feel better.
Right. A little retail therapy, not to make it a habit, but
and that's just that was the example. That was the example. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying go spend all your money and go buy everything. What I'm saying is do what you need to do, because for you it was that, but for somebody else it could just be, I like to get my hair done.
I want to get my nails done, or whatever. It's a therapy, some form of therapy, right? And we want to also say that, we are promoters of going to therapy, because you need someone that you can actually talk to that will hear you, that is not biased, that will not give you their opinion, but what they actually see you dealing with and helping you to get through it. I was always, like I said last week, I was always a fan of getting things off of your chest. I wasn't one that held things. I'm not a suppressor in no way, shape, or form. And sometimes that can be a good thing, and sometimes that can be a bad thing. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I'm not a suppressor. Now, one of the things that I do know is that when I figured out that I'm the anxious, preoccupied person, right? I realized that I get distracted easily. So I said, oh, it's like red ball, green ball, blue ball. So I get distracted. It's not like distracted and then I'm back on it. It's like red, yellow, blue, and green. Oh, shoot, I was supposed to be doing this. You understand what I mean? Like, and when she said that people with the anxious, preoccupied attachment style, they're the people that have the least amount of money. And I said, oh yeah, and that we are like a magnet or a kryptonite to the dismissive avoidance person. Oh yeah, like all of these things that we learned last week, I realized, and I said, okay, so what are the things that I have to change? What are the things that I have to change? One thing that I had to change was the victim mentality, okay? I'm not going to be abandoned by anybody that is not supposed to be in my life. I have to continue to tell these things to myself. We have to talk to ourselves. We always talked about negative self-talk, but what about the positive self-talk? What do we do with that, right? Do we encourage ourselves? Do we look at ourselves in the mirror and tell ourselves, no matter what it looks like, I'm going to succeed, or I'm going to get over this hump. I'm going to do better than I did before. And that is the main goal. Now, they said, and, correct me if I'm wrong, Jazz, but they said that we have to get a sense of self-respect and not feel ashamed of it. No. You need to, she said, you need to find the reason why, because willpower won't work by itself. So did you hear that? Was that something that you saw, Jazz?
No, but it makes sense. Could you hear me?
It says that you can't just do it off of willpower. You have to do it by knowing the reason why you want to change that attachment style. I no longer want to attract emotional, unavailable men. I no longer want to attract people that wants to feed off of my energy without giving anything in return. I want to change the cycle of me giving everything and receiving little to nothing back. These are the things that got me mad last week, right? That said, okay, all right, that's not going to happen anymore. And so it says, I saw something where it says it takes 5 days to open your heart to go from clingy to confident. 5 days. Okay? So that means that you work diligently on the things that came up with your attachment style. So
And that's
y'all can
important.
identify what your attachment style is, right? Who in the comments, if y'all can, with what y'all have learned so far, are y'all anxious preoccupied? Are y'all dismissive avoidance? Or are you fearful avoidance? I would like to see your comments in the I would like to see your responses in the comment area, because knowing is half the battle, and honing in on those things, we can work on it. We can work on it one by one. We can work on it together. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people who had love, but it wasn't consistent. That's with the anxious preoccupied person, right, Jazz?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From that childhood.
So one of the things that I wrote down is accept help and support from others, from the people that you've already established trust with. So a lot of the times we have established trust with people, but we don't open up enough for them to truly know us. So
we only give them a little bit.
We only give them a little bit, and that's okay. But when you're trying to heal these wounds, you want to open up a little more. I'm not saying tell your whole life story, but I am saying let them know how you're doing. Let people know how you're doing. The people that you know and trust. This is how we heal being fearful avoidant.
Right.
Or dismissive avoidant, because these people tend to not communicate. The anxious preoccupied communicates too much. So anxious preoccupied may need to pull back a little bit, think a little more rationally, because you're so anxious that it feels like everything is on 1,000 when it really should be down here. So we have to start to use our breathing exercises. I told my mom about a breathing exercise. You breathe in on a 4 count, hold it to 7, and let go on 8. That slows your heart rate down enough for you to think rationally.
Now let me put y'all on something. Well, your Uncle Ronnie just said we're blessed to be secure. Yes, I want to be secure. I'm not there yet, but I am on the road to be secure, because I'm going to be happy and have money. I'm going to be completely happy in my life. I declare and decree it. And we have to take authority in our lives and claim things in our lives and not forget what we're claiming. But I wanted to talk about how Jasmine said about the breathing technique. I'm going to put you on a little joke, right? So Jasmine will call me, right? And she would tell me about her day, and whether it was good or whether it was bad. For the most part, if it was bad, she would call me like, Ma, and she'll be so angry. And I'll let her talk. And then all of a sudden I say, Jazz, just breathe. Yo, do you know that Jasmine used to spaz on me? Ma, I know to breathe. What you think I'm doing? I am breathing, right? She would get so angry, like, you're telling me to do the obvious. I am breathing, right? And then the other day, she called me. She said, this lady been telling me to breathe for months. And because breathing works, guys, breathing works. It will help you to really calm your heart rate down, get your heart rate down. And the anxiety that's building up on the inside of you will cease with that 3 count, release it on the 4, right? That's what you said. You hold it for 3, you release it on the 4th, right?
No, hold it for 4 seconds. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it to 7, release at 8.
Oh, there it is. Y'all heard that?
So it helps
So
when you're in that.
y'all learn those breathing, because it when I tell you it really works, don't knock it till you try it, because it really truly works. It gets your heart rate down, and it gives you the ability and the time to think. By the time you finish getting your heart right, all the things that had you in an anxiety mode has like gone away. It's like, wait a minute, what was I feeling before I did the breathing?
Because
I was
when you're
feeling
getting
something.
anxious, you're also building up. When you're getting anxious, you're also building up adrenaline. So when you breathe and you calm down, that adrenaline ceases, and now you have the ability to think logically. Okay, now I'm not feeling like this. So what's really happening? Because a lot of the times when you're in that anxious, preoccupied state, and you're getting what's the word? You're showing protest behavior. So you're calling a lot, you're texting a lot, you're trying to get any type of response you can get. Those are the times where you want to sit back and breathe.
I used to do
The
that so
long
much.
text doesn't have to be so long. Somebody just told me recently, because I said, I feel like I have the answer to this problem, but it just seems a little hard. He said, the person I was talking to, he was actually my manager, I'll tell you, my boss. He said a lot of the times, it's the solution isn't hard. It's just if you have the balls enough to execute it.
Right. Which and that translates, I believe that translates into having the confidence to understand where you are and taking the proper steps to change into who you want to be. You know, it takes courage to look at yourself on that deep of a level to understand just how dysfunctional you really are. It's not as surface as we all think. And although, I'm laughing about it, I really was mad last week. Like, y'all really heard me say, September, what date was that? I was like, September 26th, 2021 at 7:39 p.m. Shannon Michelle Willis has just died. And I did. And then after that, I cried for 2 days straight. I cried. I didn't understand it. I didn't know why. Hey, Susie, my cousin is on Instagram. I love her, love her. And I cried. I cried for the loss of myself, because I didn't realize that in another way, I was yet again my worst enemy. See, a lot of times we want to victimize ourselves and point the finger at other people, not realizing that we are the co-creator of our demise in a lot of things. We don't want to take accountability for those things. But even in the Bible says, confessing your sins one to another. And I know that I said on the previous show that when you confess your sins one to another, the enemy can no longer keep you bound with that thing, whatever that thing is that you want to hide away. And he says, confess it. When you confess it, you can no longer be bound. Right? But because the enemy knows that we are wrapped up in pride and ego, oh, you're not going to tell that. So you already helping the strong man stay strong in your life. And it's like, no, this far, no further. I will not. I cannot continue. I mean, I've been living 44 years. I've been living like this for a very long time and not understanding why I am the way that I am. So that's why I died last week.
The thing is,
and I really feel
that's why when I was saying, like, confide in the people that you've already built trust in, I said that because a lot of the times we're in these dysfunctional relationships and we're trying to fix dysfunction, and that is hard. I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's possible if both parties are willing, but 9 times out of 10, it's one person that's noticing some things and wanting to change some things while the other one is unwilling. If you're in that situation, then it's time to separate so that you can grow. Because you don't want to confide into the in the wrong people.
Into the wrong person. That's
right.
that's one of my that's one of my concerns too, because right now I feel like who can you really trust? Who do you really trust? Because there's so many people that have motives, that have alternative motives, and it's like, but for why?
I know the answer. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust God, but you got to trust yourself. He
No,
gave us
I just feel like sometimes I just be like, I'm gonna make my circle even smaller.
He gave us intuition, and he gave us that gut feeling for a reason. So you said, if I can't trust nobody, who can I trust? Trust yourself. Trust that feeling that you get when something's not right, when things are off, when the energy isn't right, when you can't put your hand on it. Like, trust yourself. We trust in God already. That's a given. We know that. We've been following God. We know that. But do you trust yourself? Can you look in the mirror and say, I trust you? I trust you. I trust you to make it. I trust you to survive. I trust you to, you know what I'm saying? Can you trust yourself? Who can you trust? Can you trust you? Because
at the end of the day, I only have me. You understand what I mean? I only have
but
me.
that still doesn't mean
At
that
the
you
end
can
of the
trust me.
day, well, I mean, I trust, I distrust sometimes with who I should open myself up to, because what I may think of as a friend, they may be a wolf in sheep clothing. You understand what I mean? Because it's just people like that are intentionally nasty and want to do harm to you, and you didn't do anything to them. And maybe I have PTSD because I've been hurt so many times in my life. So
But I
trust
think a
doesn't
lot
come
of the
easy for
times,
me,
though,
but I
I
don't
think a lot of the
mistrust
times,
or distrust.
I think a
Talk a little
lot of the
louder.
times,
I messed it up. I messed up the sound on the side. Go ahead.
well, I think a lot of the times the red flags are there. Hold on.
They are present. It's not you. It's it's me. It's not you. I pressed the button by mistake. The people on Instagram, I pressed the button by mistake, and it just like wiped the sound out. And it was a video that came in really loud, and then now it just really messed up my sound. But I'm gonna do something really quickly and see if I could come out and go back in so that my Instagram people can actually hear you, because they can't see you, but they can hear you. And if they can't hear you the way that you need to be heard, then they're missing out. And I don't want people to miss out on this healing. So let me change something really quickly. Let me change something. Let me see what I could do, because we gotta fix this. So I'm gonna put myself on. All right, talk, Jazz. All right.
Can you hear me?
No. Go ahead. And we just prayed about this, and it's happening. But go ahead. The enemy is busy because I just got a phone call right before we got on that we will not have technical difficulties, and we have technical difficulties. But it's okay. Go ahead.
So, yeah, so basically what we were just talking about is finding that balance. I think that everybody has their own ways about them. Now that you have the information that we gave you on the last show, you have a better blueprint on identifying what's going on with you. So, case by case, you might be the person that's overly clingy, or you might be the person that is emotionally unavailable, or you might be the person that wants to give but kind of takes it away, but wants to give again but kind of takes it away because you're in and out. Either way it goes, you have to find a balance, and it's baby steps. When you're a lot of the times when you have these insecure attachment styles, you don't even know that you have them. We
Right.
shed a light.
You're not even
on
aware that that's what you're dealing
that's what
with.
you're operating in. That's why things are happening the way they're happening, because of the insecure attachment styles. But for the dismissive avoidant person, you would want to just try to open up a little more. It's hard for you to open up.
Wait, before you go there, you have a question. Uncle Snap is on Instagram. He said, how can you trust yourself if you can't trust the decisions that you make?
Then you don't trust yourself. So that means that you have to start working in that area. Okay, I know that I make bad decisions. So now when it comes time for me to make a decision, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to think about what I do before I do it. Because a lot of the times when you make bad decisions, it's because you didn't think about it. You didn't
And it's
think
quick.
enough.
It's spur of the moment. It's no thought put into it. It's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then you go for it, not thinking about consequences, not thinking about how you're going to feel tomorrow. I remember I put a meme out there that said, feelings are fleeting. So be mindful of what you say today that will affect your tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because you can't move so quickly. You got to sit on things sometimes. Sometimes you got to chew on it. Sometimes it may even take a week before you actually get an answer. But that's where I think that we mess up, or we skip a beat, is because we are that microwave society where we want our answers and we want it now. And so if we don't get the answer, whatever we say in our head, like we'll tell ourselves, yeah, that's what we say, and then agree with ourselves with the decision, and it's not really sound judgment.
A lot of the times what's funny to me is that I lost my train of thought, Ma, because what were you saying?
I was just saying that, it just makes us indecisive. It makes us, I don't think that's what I was saying. How can you trust yourself? Listen, how can you trust yourself if you can't trust the decisions that you make? I think Snap on one end, I think it's also a double-mindedness. We tend to talk ourselves out of. I've learned, and it took me a long time to get it, and I don't get it right all the time, but I've actually learned to go with my first instinct. Whatever I felt at the very time that a decision has to be made, that's ultimately the right choice. But then here comes reason, okay? Here comes our wants and our desires. Those are the things that make us double-minded, because we hear it, we know that's not something that we should do. That's not something that we should say. But then our emotions, and then us just overthinking is bad. We want to give things thought, but we don't want to get so lost in the thought process that we forget our goal, which is to do something, to actually physically do something or make a change. We'll be thinking about it and forget that we have to actually do something. But to trust yourself, you just have to understand that whatever you feel, to thine own self be true, okay? In order for you to trust yourself, you have to be honest with yourself. You can't tell yourself and everybody else lies. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? You can't tell yourself lies. You can't say what it isn't when you know
Yeah,
what it is. I didn't hear you.
one of my close friends said to me. One of my close friends said to me not too long ago. She said, "Well, does it bother you?" Not really, but that's what I said. Not really, but she said, "No, no, 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 no. You don't have to tell me, and you don't have to tell them, but you need to be real with yourself.
You better be honest
If
with
it bothers
yourself.
you, it bothers you." So I think we answered that question. How can you trust yourself if you continuously make bad decisions? Then you have to start somewhere. If you notice that you continuously make bad decisions, you have to take a step back and put some thought into the decisions that you make. Be intentional about the decisions that you make. Is there any more questions?
So Phoebe said on Instagram, you keep it real with yourself about the things you have done and the predicaments it has caused, and be honest about whether you want to change that outcome or not. Tifa says that this is the scripture, Romans 8:6 in the Passion Translation, for the sense and reason of the flesh is death, but the mindset controlled by the spirit finds life and peace. So it's basically like that double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You know what I mean? But the man with one mind, one mindset, you know what I mean, that can stick to it and not deviate. It's so many different ways that we get sidetracked off of the things that we need to do for ourselves because we get preoccupied and distracted. That's anxious and preoccupied. There it is. We get distracted. I know I get distracted. And one of the ways to heal those distractions is when you see yourself getting distracted, you say, no, okay, pull yourself back. It's a conscientious thing. It can't just be something that you think is going to happen. Anything that becomes a habit has to be done for an amount of time. 21 days, 23 days, 27 days, whatever days it takes. It takes more than 2, you know what I mean, to create a habit. So you have to change your mindset and be willing to change it daily. That's why the Bible says to renew your mind daily. You have to do it daily. That's the only thing that he did not save on you is your mind. If he saved your mind, he wouldn't have given us the commandment to renew it daily. He wouldn't have. He saved us. He saved our spirits, but he did not save this. Because if he saved this, that means he took away our free will, right? But because he's a God of free will and free choice, he couldn't touch this. That means that we can't think for ourselves. That means we can't move by ourselves. That anything and everything can control us but us. No, he says you have the control. You have the ability to change it. You have the wherewithal and the want to and the desire and the tenacity and the drive to want to change who you are as a person. If you don't want to change, then stay the same, but don't complain. Don't complain and don't allow and don't get jealous. These are the things, because if you're getting the information, I know and maybe it's just me, and I don't mean to offend anyone, okay? But I know that I'm 44 years old and I've been doing this for years. I've been in this game for years and I've always lost. And now is the time that I win. That's why these different topics are coming into play now. Because who would have thought about an attachment style? Nobody knew. Like Tange, I put you out there, Tange, last week. I'm going to put you out there this week. Who knew? You thought it was an accessory. You know what I mean? But because now we know, all right, now we got to change it. I'm not going to allow an emotional immature, because there's emotional immature and emotional unavailable people out there. There's kids in men's bodies, okay? I saw a depiction. I saw a picture, right?
There's kids in women's bodies too.
Huh? I saw a picture the other day,
I said there's
and it was of a man, right? And the man then took his regular face off, and underneath that face was a crying man, right? Then he took that face off, and inside of that face was a little boy curled up in a fetal position. And that was like the perfect depiction of what we go through. And I'm not just going to say men, because I think women do it too, but more so men, because y'all were the ones that was told not to show your vulnerability, not to be vulnerable. You a man, don't cry, don't do that. Boys don't do X, Y, Z. And they did y'all a disservice. So now everybody is a little boy or a little girl in the head while they're putting on the facade and the different masks to go along with society and the status quo. But we can't do that all our lives and expect to get where we need to go and be who we need to be. We have to take these hard lessons and to understand, dang, that's why I've been broke. I ain't gonna be broke no more, booze. Like, real talk. Like, I'll show you better than I can tell you, right? You know what I mean? I'll show you better than I can tell you, because I will cut off anybody and everybody that is here to distract me from my goal and my journey. I am here to cut off anybody or anybody that's here to come and steal my energy, who is a thief. Now, a thief doesn't mean that you came and you took something tangible, but you could have took my peace. You could have took my joy. You could have took my love for granted. You're a thief. And I'm no longer going to allow anybody to be a thief in my life. But I also want God to sharpen my discernment so that I won't cast my pearls to swine. We need to understand that we be giving ourselves to people and giving off our energy, just our energy. I'm not even talking about sex. Energy, time, and attention. We'll be giving these people all of this, and we're casting our beautiful, beautiful pearls to swine. They don't even care about you. They don't even care what you're saying. They don't even care that they're hurting you. Okay? And that's where that question comes in. How can you trust? How can you trust yourself? Wait, what is the question you put? How can you trust yourself if you can't trust the decisions that you make? It's because sometimes you have the people, places, and things in your area, in your mindset that will speak against the very thing that you know to do. We talked about that too. And we can be our worst enemies. What Paul say, Jazz? What did Paul say? What did Paul say about doing the things that they don't want to do, that he don't want to do?
I was just saying that. I do the things that I don't want to do, and I don't do the things that I want to do. Take this from me. Why won't you take this thorn from me?
So it's just, but will you do that with yourself? Yeah, I have to. I have to. I have to understand my position as well. We can't point fingers and not understand that we may be that person in somebody else's life that's a distraction, that is taking away or being an energy vampire, stealing from people their love, their joy, their peace, their sound mind. You gotta be able to self-reflect. You gotta be able to understand what you are doing and admit it. Everything is about admittance. Even when you go through AA, you go through NA, the first step is always admitting the problem. We have to admit those problems. We have to sit here and take accountability over the things that is going on in our lives. We have to. There's no way that we will be able to heal and be whole for real if we don't do these things. Okay? And I'm not gonna have this bullseye. And this is just my declaration for myself. This may not be everybody's story. This might not be your testimony. This might not even be your declaration. But I'm telling you in front of everybody who's watching now and who may watch later that I'm taking a stance in my life. I need to change it. I was listening to something the other day, right? And one of the things that she said was that we go throughout our day, right? And we're angry. We're angry, we're sad, we're mad, whatever emotion we're going through, right? Then we go to sleep. And we've gotten blessed with a new day with brand new grace and mercy, right? And we sleep and everything is clear out of our mind. We wake up and the first thought was, I'm supposed to be mad. I'm supposed to be mad. And we take on what we felt the day before and we bring it in to the next day, which means that nothing's going to change as far as our thought process because that was our first thought. We can't bring those things into the next day. We have to leave it there and then begin to speak life into our life. That's why for the longest time, anytime me and my daughter get off the phone or she's going to work, whatever, you know what I say to her? I say, have a great day on purpose, because we have the ability and the might to have a good day on purpose. We have that option to choose. I'm not going to let anything bother me today. I'm going to be like a duck. I'm going to let all of this stuff roll off my back. It's not going to affect me mentally, emotionally, physically. I'm just going to allow things to happen. I'm going to accept things for what it is. I'm not going to put any other expectations on it. It is what it is. If it came to me, God meant for it to come, and that is it. You know, like, you got to speak those things, and I'm normally good with it, but because I got caught up there in the sense of I got weary. You know what I mean? And the Bible also says, do not be weary in well doing. But I got weary, and I'm like, okay, you know, something got to end. And when I got weary was when all of this information came out to help me get out of the rut that I was in. It helped me realize, it helped me understand. So Susie said, all the things that make us angry gives us life lessons. We have to learn from these things. Yes, we do. I remember with Jasmine and even with myself, anything that we go through is always the question of, what did I learn? What did you learn? Even when she was a teenager, instead of beating her or all of that stuff, I didn't do that. I talked to her. So what did you learn? What won't you do next? You understand what I mean? Like, what is it? So Dion says, I'm taking a stance too, right? Because this far no further. I'm like, Snap said, first partaker. Let me tell you something. I cannot possibly sit on this platform and learn with you guys and not apply what I learned in my life and off of these shows, because I don't know everything. I know a little bit about a lot of things. And this is one of the things that I didn't know about. But now that I know, I'm going to make a conscientious decision to change it. And if I got to cut some people out of my life, then I'll do that. I'm willing to take those steps to be whole and healed, and not to bring these people that are here to use me and abuse me in my life and use me as a stepping stone because they unhealed. Nah, you're going to have to find somebody else to do that too, because I'm secure now. See, and I'm speaking that into existence. I'm secure now. I am happy and I am whole. Do I feel that today? Not necessarily, but do I know that it's coming? Oh, I know without a shadow of a doubt, because the God I serve is not a liar. You know what I mean? And he promised me things, and I'm going to stand firm. But the enemy tried to get me with learning all of these things and learning what comes with it, learning that because of how I was raised and the inconsistency in my nurturing, allowed me to attach to people that use me. And I can't do that. I refuse to be that person anymore. I refuse to be the person that always say, why is it always me? Okay, now I know why it's me. So now I got to change it. I have no other choice but to change it. Because what the Bible say, to know and not to do, Is that the scripture, Snap? To know and not to do? When you know better, you do better. So I want us to really, really understand that the first step is admitting what type of attachment style you are. Okay? Admitting it and coming to terms with it. Whether you never got the nurturing ever and you have a dismissive avoidance attachment style where you're emotionally unavailable, and that you use other things to make sure to keep the people that's closest to you away from you by going to work, by doing other things instead of addressing the issues. You know what I mean? Or if you're fearful avoidance, where I don't know, and wait, you said dismissive avoidance, they have rejection issues. So they were rejected in their childhood. And that's why they do the stupid stuff that they do now. And I'm not being, I think I'm mad because I'm the anxious preoccupied that always attracts the dismissive avoidance person. So I'm like, they do all the stupid stuff that I don't understand, but it's not stupid to them. And I'm not trying to be angry with them. I'm more angry with myself than anything. I will never, ever, the people that I've dealt with in my life who has that dismissive avoidance attachment style, I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at myself. I'm mad that I allowed it to happen because self-love is key. If you love yourself, you won't allow people to take advantage of you. You will see the signs, like Jasmine said. You will see the signs. You will see the red flags, and you will not ignore them. You will take heed to them and say, I'm sorry, but I can't. I felt like this, and it didn't sit well with me, and unfortunately, I can't go further with this. And have open communication. Effective communication will also get you very, very far. People don't know how to communicate nowadays. People just want to do things and act out and not communicate effectively and leave people dangling. And you cannot do that. You know that you reap what you sow. Reciprocity doesn't miss anybody. You cannot mishandle, especially God's people. You cannot mishandle God's people. Okay? You got to understand that, because although you may not be able to see it on your hands, when you mishandle God's people, their blood is on your hands. And although our hands look normal, in the spiritual realm, they dripping with other people's blood because you mishandled them. Because you didn't want to get to the root of you. And you didn't want to find out why you did the things that you do. You just accepted that you was dismissive and that you was emotionally unattached, and you're going to continue to do this because that's where you're comfortable at. That means that you're not willing to grow. You're not willing to expand your mindset to get out of the rut that you've been in for so long. I have to. It's a desire, it's a want, it's a need. And I don't know if anybody can relate to me, but it's a need to want to change this. I need to be secure. I need to be healthy. I need to be whole. I need to be happy. And I need my money to be right. Point blank. So everything that I got to do to get those things in order, and if that is to cut off the people, places, and things that are distracting me, snip, snip. I cannot be your incubator. I cannot be your source of energy when you can't pull your own source, when you can't pull your own energy, when you can't pull yourself up. I cannot be that for you guys anymore. And I don't even know who I'm talking to, but whoever is supposed to hear it is going to hear it. I can't be that person because I'm healthy. I'm secure. I'm happy. I'm whole. And my money right. Snip, snip, right, cuz? Snip, snip out this mug. Out. Gone. Bye. Because I have to be what God has called me to be. And if with all of these distractions going on, how can I possibly be who he called me to be when I am not steadfast and unmovable in the things that he's telling me to do? Because I'm on the red, green, yellow, and blue ball, and I ain't never come back. You understand what I mean? And Snap said to me, that kind of sounds like ADD. I was like, well, maybe it might be. You never know. You never know. But I cannot be distracted anymore. I will not be distracted anymore. And I hope and I pray that everybody understands the intensity of attachment styles, to understand that these things, and to one of the things that Jazz said last week is that don't be mad at your parents. They did not know, you know. And I also said that I apologized to my daughter numerous times, regardless of anything, because I know I didn't get everything right. And although, and will I be lying if I say defensiveness, does it rise up? Yes, I would be lying if I said that it didn't. However, it's still how you handle that defensiveness. Retain it. Listen with your heart, not with this, and not with a readily response. And I'm talking to myself too, because sometimes that's like, Mom, you're not listening because you're talking. And I have to digress. And I have to also understand that. Okay, so Christina said, let me see. I have to rewatch, interested in what the 4 attachment styles are. I can put them up too for you, Christina, because they're it's really crazy. The attachment styles that is secure, which is the healthiest one. Go ahead, Jess, explain it to her. She can hear you. I'll put it up so that she can see them.
Style. So there's only one secure attachment style, and it is secure attachment style. The other 3 are insecure attachment styles. So it's the anxious, preoccupied, dismissive, avoidant, and fearful avoidant. Some of the ways that my mom is declaring or decreeing some things in her life, it's healthy. It's healthy to come to the realization that you have to adjust certain areas of your life. It's healthy to realize or to become aware of the different areas that people may be taking from, or that you're allowing people to take from, because ultimately we're allowing these things. People can't use you if you don't allow it. So, yeah.
Tange asked, she said, what's the proper term for the secure one again? It's secure. It's secure. It's just secure. Secure is the healthiest one. It says it right here. It says that if you secure, your money is good and your happiness is good. If you dismissive avoidance, your money is good, but you're not happy. Oh, I gotta take your comment down. Give me one moment. And then the anxious, preoccupied, your money not right and your happiness not right. And I'm not gonna be that. I cannot be that. I'm going to be secure. My money's gonna be right. My happiness is gonna be right. And I'm going to change the narrative of my life. There's no way that I'm going to stay the same with this information. I will be doing God a disservice of allowing this information to cross my path and me not do anything about it. I will be doing myself a disservice if I hear this information and this information has come to me and I do nothing about it. So I want y'all to understand that y'all now have a responsibility, okay? Because when you know, you're held accountable for knowing these things, okay? And sometimes, and I'm telling you, when I first got saved, I swear it was certain things that I didn't read in the Bible because I knew that I would be judged by what I knew. So if I didn't read that, then I didn't know that, so I can't be judged over that. And I'm like, how are you gonna try to manipulate God, right? But now that you know, you really have to do the things that you need to do to get it together. And I'm going to be secure. I'm going to be whole. I'm going to be happy. And I'm going to have my money right. and everything else that is here to come and distract me. And I want to attract, and I'm going to put that in the atmosphere as well. I want to attract another secure person. No longer do I want, and evidently I love me some dismissive avoidant people. Evidently I do. But no more. This far, no further. So Jazz, give me some closing remarks.
A lot of the times we attract the things that we're most fearful of. So if you have a fear of abandonment, you're going to attract the people that are going to abandon you because you're fearing that. If you have a fear of rejection, 9 times out of 10, you're going to attract that rejection because you have a fear of that. If you have a fear of distrust, or you have distrust in people, then you're going to attract untrustworthy people. You don't want to fear these things. Yes, they're possible, but we don't want to fear them, and that's where the unhealthy attachment comes in to play, because we now created a fear of being left alone. So now we obsessively look for closeness. We have a fear of being rejected, so now
you will reject before anybody will reject you.
Push people away. I'd rather you hurt than I hurt.
Right. But you know what bugs me out about that is that, like I said, reciprocity don't miss nobody. So
yeah, but
I wonder
again, a lot of the times when you have these attachment styles, you don't know it. You was living for how long and did not know that you were anxious, preoccupied.
Right.
You can't.
I know, but that still don't mean that you reap what you sow is gonna miss you because you didn't know. You still know right from wrong, though.
Everybody, though.
You know if you're doing something wrong to somebody, if you hurt somebody, whether if you know the attachment style or not, you know.
Mom, it goes back to the first show when I talked about how because you said if you hurt somebody, I talked about how in the video that I watched, the lady read a letter from the dismissive avoidant to the anxious preoccupied. It's easy to point and say, you hurt me. But the fact of the matter is, you don't even realize that you're clinging is hurting them. You're suffocating them. You're throwing the imagery that you gave earlier with the many faces and the little kid, the wounded kid, the scared kid that's in your mind that's bound. You're throwing that kid onto somebody else, in turn hurting them. So you'll reap what you sow too. You don't want to get into a headspace of pointing fingers. We're becoming aware,
right?
And we're growing from it. They don't know. The dismissive avoidant doesn't know that they're doing it. Now, if they're dismissive avoidant and they do know that they're doing it, then they're a narcissist. Right. Because narcissists use dismissive avoidance as a game. But when people are unaware of the fact that they don't show emotion, or that they have a fear of showing emotion because of this, they're not trying to hurt you. They actually, the people that have this insecure attachment style and do this to you, they actually care about you the most.
Right, you did say that. And that's so ironic because you don't feel that love. You know what I mean? They treat you the worst.
But that's what they want you to feel to push you away. So the feelings that you
they treat you the worst, but they love you the most. That is, oh God, our brains are so, it's not our brains. And I really have to not take this personal. But I'm more so, I need to say, I really need to not take this personal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm striving to not take this personal, because as we speak on it, I just see it, and I see it, and I've allowed it to go on and didn't understand it. Tifa put a scripture up. It's Job. You like Job. Job 3:25. For the thing which I greatly fear comes upon me, and that of which I am afraid befalls me. So what does that mean? What, I mean, I understand that scripture, but what were you saying with that scripture, Tifa?
That was
If you don't mind.
that was to when you have a fear of abandonment, you'll attract abandonment. If you have a fear, it's
Oh,
okay. It's
right.
okay
Got you.
to understand that these things happen, but to have the fear is where the attraction comes in. Why do I keep attracting these types of people? Because I fear being abandoned. So I'm gonna keep attracting the people that are
People
going
that's
to
going to
abandon
abandon you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm not doing
and
that.
that's why it's secure.
She said,
It's
yes,
how
niece, yes. Look. Yes, niece, yes. You got to. So, I mean, I get
Job
it, and
said
I
that. I love
understand
me
it.
some Job. I love me some Job. I didn't even know Job said that.
Right. I know. That's why I said, oh, that's her dude. That's what she relates to Job real easy. Like, that's why I said, oh, it's Job. You like him. You know? So, I want to tell you, we did go over a little bit tonight, but please leave in the comments if this has helped you in any way, shape, or form. If it has not, I really, 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 I really encourage you to go and look at last week's show. Last week's show had so much information in there that it was mind blowing. It really was. Like, it blew my mind, and I'm still on it, but I'm on the road to recovery. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm on the road to recovery. I'm on the road from anxious, preoccupied to secure. You know? Yes, it is. Fear is so destructive. It really is. And I'm not gonna be fearful anymore. I'm gonna say what I need to say. And I'm not gonna give all of me and not get anything in return. That's like a public service announcement. It's just not going down. You know? No, nothing good comes out of fear. Nothing at all. You know? But I'm serving notice on anybody and everybody that it's not going down. If you don't come, you can't come to me half-baked. You ever ate a half-baked potato? It's hard. You can't even chew it. It's not really that edible. You know, you understand what I mean? When it's a half-baked potato. If you're gonna come to me half-baked, you might as well turn it right around. It's all or nothing. I'm not giving to any said energy without it being reciprocated. And I'm gonna stand my ground. Whether that leaves me alone, I have family and friends that will fill my time. I have God. I have my nieces and nephews, my grandson, my daughter, my peoples in New York, Tange. I'll be on the phone. We can play cards via messenger. We do what we gotta do. But you know what? I will get over this hump, and I will change my attachment style. That's my declaration. Put your declaration in the end of the put your declaration in. Tange said yes, she has learned so much. And I'm happy. I want y'all to be encouraged. Stay encouraged. Okay? Stay encouraged and keep working on yourself no matter what. We understand now that a lot of our issues stem from our childhood. Again, God told me a long time ago when he was telling me about at the root of it, and he told me that we were shaped in iniquity through our parents and what we learned in our households. So because of that, we have to understand to accept that our parents didn't know what they were doing, because if they knew what they were doing, they would have changed it. Just like if I knew what I was doing to my daughter, I would have changed it, because I love her that much that I would never want to intentionally hurt her. And I hope that my future people who will come into my life will understand and know that, you know, I would never do anything intentionally to hurt anybody. If I did, I apologize, but I'm not that person. But I'm not going to be that stepping stone. I'm not going to be that footstool to anybody any longer. I take my stance, and I've learned, and I'm going to continue to learn, and I'm going to continue to change the narrative in my life. That's not going to be my testimony for long. I declare and I decree it today, October 3rd, 2021 at 8:15 p.m. This is documented because, and I'm a person of integrity, so I don't say anything without meaning it. My character and my integrity is everything. So I will not sit before anybody and say I'm doing something that I'm not going to do. I'm going to do it. You will see a change in my behavior. I feel it more than I see it. You understand what I mean? But I feel it on the inside. It's in my shana now. It's a change.
Mom, I gotta go,
has
Mom.
to come.
I gotta go.
Till we meet again, guys. I love everybody for tuning in. I love everybody for tuning in to tonight's show. I really hope that you gain some knowledge and some wisdom behind this. Know that this is healing. This is something that can be healed. It's not something that you have to walk around with and not be healed. Let me take her off right there. But you need to find the reason why you want to change it. It cannot just be willpower, okay? We have to have and get a sense of self-respect, and we shall not be ashamed from this attachment style, okay? We're going to go from being clingy to confident, okay? And we're going to move away from unrequited love to loving wholeheartedly. It won't be no more one-sided love affairs with me, myself, and I, while I give all and receive nothing. That's my stance. That's where I'm going to stand. That's where I'm going to leave it off tonight. And I hope that everybody learns how to take the stance from whichever attachment style you guys are and put it into practice. It takes 21 days to make a habit. Do it 22 days just to make sure you got it. But know that you're worth it. Know that you deserve love, whether you are secure, you know, but whether you're anxious, preoccupied, dismissive avoidance, or fearful avoidance. Know that you deserve love. Everybody deserves love. And love covers a multitude of sin, of all wrongs. And another thing, what love doesn't do, it's not puffed up, it doesn't envy, it's patient, it's kind, and it remembers no wrongs, no past wrongs. Love covers, okay? So until we meet again next week, when we're talking about another hot topic, see you, same bat station, same bat time. Until we meet again, I love y'all to life. I want y'all to understand that this is our goal in life, is to help heal people. This is not just a spur of the moment thing. This is a work that I've been working, that God has been working in my life for a very long time. So this is not spur of the moment. It's just now I've been released to talk about it. Okay? So I love y'all to life. Until we meet again, love y'all. Night, night.
Welcome, everyone. We want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it.
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow. Step one, self-love above anything else. Unlock peace and happiness.